Why was Marion Davies important for the film comedy genre? And why did she abandon comedy film when sound film came? And who is Rosebud? No. Don't go there. Spoiler alert, Rosebud wasn't Marion Davies, and Orson Welles apologized for this misconception in the foreword of a biography of Marion Davies, which was published after she died. You might wonder, what? Who? What are you talking about? Who's Marion Davies? Well, it is Filmtastic February, and this is a fun reading event. Film and film-related reading event I am hosting with Roy and Duncan. I will link their channels in the description box below. So we read all kinds of film fiction and film non-fiction. So as week 2, one of the prompts is read a biography or autobiography of someone in the film industry, working in the film industry. I have read Captain of Her Soul, The Life of Marion Davies by Lara Gabrielle. So Marion Davies was this famous but really talented actress back in the 1920s and 1930s. But regrettably, if you have heard of her, it's probably because she was the mistress of media tycoon William Randolph Hearst. And Hearst did his best to advance the career of his mistress and create career opportunities for his mistress, Marion Davies. So he did this by giving her positive reviews. The films she starred in, he gave positive reviews in his newspapers and such things. But in my personal opinion, this did her career more harm than it did any good. Yes, of course, in the beginning it really helped to advance her career and create career opportunities. But I think because she had the support of this media magnate, her talent was always by a lot of people downplayed, and she did have talent. I am convinced that she would have become a legendary actress in her own right, even without the help of William Randolph Hearst. Yes, Hearst, like I said, was important in her early career. Marion Davies really had talent for comedy, and this comes abundantly clear in all of the comedies she made in the 1920s, the silent film era. She did a lot of silent film comedies. And you could see her as some sort of predecessor of the screwball comedian. And this was a genre which was made popular, was really popular in the 1930s and 1940s. You probably know the genre. Most well-known films during that era were made by actresses like Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant, for example, and other people as well. It was really, really popular. Marion Davies loved making comedies, but Hearst, he wanted to see her in historical films, and he wanted to see her as this pure and innocent woman. So the roles he got for her were always, she had to play these pure and innocent women. But and as Marion really loved W.R., as she called him, she accepted this and she transferred to historical films. And it speaks for itself that William Randolph Hearst and Marion really loved each other, because they stayed with each other for 32 years. They were in a relationship over 32 years until William Randolph Hearst died. So there is absolutely no doubt about it. Like I said, because Marion loved W.R., she didn't object, and but in the end, she, as she loved comedy so much, she gradually sneaked in some comic elements that in films that W.R. didn't approve of, like for example, one script. In one script, it was written that somebody had to smash a pie into Marion's face, and W.R. did not want this. So Marion thought this was really funny. So Marion sent W.R. on a diversion trip, and they filmed the scene, and it stayed in the film. So she had her ways of sneaking funny stuff in her films, although William Randolph Hearst didn't approve. You hear a lot of talk about the transition from silent film to sound film. And one of the topics that's often discussed is the voice of the silent film actors and actresses. Yes, there were sound tests to see if an actor had a good voice, which could be so film production companies, they want some sort of reassurance. I don't know if this is the right word, but they want some sort of confirmation that the cinema audience, the people who watched we went to the cinema, accepted the voices of the well-known silent film actors. But I read that there was hardly any case known. I can think of only one case which really the sound of the voice of the actor or actor played a key role in finishing off the career of this actor or actress. Because, well, if you come to think of it, Hollywood, your career span in Hollywood, that goes even to today, the lifespan of a successful Hollywood star, well, it isn't very long. If you had a run for a decade, you were absolutely a veteran. So I think when sound came, a lot of careers were bound to end anyway. So I think in most cases, the importance of the voice of the actor or actress is really blown out of proportion. Anyway, now you say, well, there was this famous incident with John Gilbert. And John Gilbert was this really successful silent film star. But in the silent films he played always this brute of a character. He played villains and he played brutal men and violent men. So what people expected was a booming voice, a really powerful booming voice. But he had a soft and cultivated voice, more like David Niven's voice, which suited David Niven, but didn't suit, was not what people expected when they saw John Gilbert. I don't think this was the real reason why John Gilbert's career was cut short. And there were some other elements as well. For example, there was this incident with Louis B. Mayer. You may have heard of it. If you haven't, he was about to marry Greta Garbo, another really big Hollywood star at the time, and this marriage was to take place at Marion Davies and William Randolph Hearst's house. And Greta Garbo didn't show up for the wedding. And Louis B. Mayer, who was also at this wedding, made some nasty remarks to John Gilbert. John Gilbert, who totally lost it, he grabbed him by the collar and pushed him to the wall. I think his spectacles flew off. Louis B. Mayer's spectacles flew off. But the fight was cut short, if you will. That was ended before anything serious could happen. So maybe Louis B. Mayer was the reason why John Gilbert's career was cut short. There is no telling if this is actually the case. But John Gilbert also had an alcohol problem and other personal problems, so this could have also ended his career. And according to Wikipedia, at the time of his death, he had been slated to play a prominent supporting role in Dietrich's film Desire. But I digress. Fun fact is, and that is mentioned, this all is mentioned in this biography of Marion Davies, I must say. But Marion Davies loved to give weddings at her house and William Randolph's house, and it's probably because William Randolph Hearst and Marion Davies were never married, as Hearst's wife never wanted to get a divorce, and this was just a time you need the permission of both parties to realize a divorce, and somebody had to be the blame of this failed marriage. So, and as William Randolph Hearst's wife was really a society lady, you can say, she didn't want to ruin her not her career, but her image. She wanted to keep her image intact, as it were. But although everybody knew about William Randolph Hearst's affair with Marion Davies, but it wasn't. This wasn't reflected on Hearst's wife. She continued to give these lavish parties under her husband's name, as it were. But I digress. Why am I telling you all this? Well, from about the voices of the actors. Well, from an early age, Marion Davies had a stutter. So this could have ended her career when sound came, even with the help of a publicity tycoon. You can't cover up a stutter. You can't solve it by publicity. Even with coaching, Marion never got over her stutter, but she had to overcome it. Or she did overcome it on a professional level as an actress, but not in personal conversations. And she solves this problem temporarily in her early theater days by singing her lines. Well, this is okay for a musical, but you can't have that in films. But she did overcome it by coaching and with endless rehearsals and studying of the film scripts. And even the few interviews she gave for radio and televisions, these interviews were scripted so she wouldn't stutter. So preparation got her over it. But like I said, during her life, in personal conversations, spontaneous conversations, she still stuttered. So this absolutely did not end her career. And Marion Davies would make over 15 sound films. I know of only one actor, I forgot his name, but his career was cut short because of his voice, and that had a medical origin, so to speak, and that is because he had a paralyzed vocal cord. He had an abnormal high-pitched voice, especially for a man. So this was really something that could not be fixed for him. But that is the only person I can think of from which you can say, well, this is actually because of the sound of somebody's voice. They didn't make the transition to sound film. What about Rosebud? Yeah, from the beginning, I'm seeing you are definitely wanting to know about that. Well, for the answer to this, we have to go back to 1941. As in 1941, Orson Welles made his absolutely famous film Citizen Kane. And Charles Foster Kane in this film is this publicity tycoon who is dying. And his last words his last word is Rosebud. And he dies. And nobody knows what is Rosebud. What does it mean? So journalists are on this quest to find out what this actually means. I've seen the film decades ago. I can't remember much about it, but if I remember correctly, the mistress of Kane was an untalented gold-digging opera singer. And the common misconception is that this film is about William Randolph Hearst and Marion Davies. And Marion Davies was this famous actress, and she had this affair with media tycoon William Randolph Hearst. I can see where the confusion comes from. But this was absolutely, believe me, not the case. It was never spoken out loud who was the inspiration for Orson Welles' film, but the characters resemble more the lives of Harold McCormick, who was a Chicago businessman, a very successful Chicago businessman, and his mistress, a Polish opera singer, Ghana Wolska. And McCormick was an opera lover, and he pushed his mistress Wolska in this opera singing career. And as Wolska was more interested in parties, enjoying life, and the money she got from McCormick than her opera career, you could see her as some sort of a gold digger indeed. I think Marion Davies met her once at a party in Paris. Well, I don't know if they actually met. Nobody knows if they actually spoke to each other, but it is a fact that they were at the same party at one point in time in Paris anyway. But like I said, I can see where the confusion comes from. At Hearst, well, like I said, it was more well-known than McCormick, and Marion was more well-known than Wolska. The relationship seems on the surface to be the same, although McCormick and Wolska ended up marrying each other. But whereas, Kane's mistress was a gold digger and untalented, Marion Davies was highly talented in her own right, and I am convinced, she really loved William Randolph Hearst, and not only you stick with somebody for over 32 years until their death, that must be love, but also the fact that Marion Davies was also a successful businesswoman. And at one point, William Randolph Hearst's empire, publishing empire, was about to collapse, and he was, he was going to go bankrupt. And Marion Davies gave him, sold her jewels, all of her, most of her jewels. She didn't care for jewels anyway, but Randolph Hearst, he liked to give her expensive presents. Anyway, she sold her jewels, and she gave William Randolph Hearst $1 million, which was a lot at the time, to keep his publishing empire from going bankrupt. Well, she didn't have to do it. She could say, toodly-dokey, I'm leaving, I have my own money, and I've profited from you, but she didn't. This must be really love, sticking by someone who is who is in so much trouble. So she was definitely no gold digger. So you can imagine that I get sort of upset when Marion Davies comes up in conversations that somebody automatically says Rosebud. So I can get really upset about it, and it's not even about me. Wells later stated in an interview that Rosebud in Citizen Kane never really meant anything, that it was only some sort of gimmick to spin the story, to tell a story, as it were. So it is a mystery, and well, it was more a vehicle to tell the story than it actually meant something. Well, I can talk for hours about Marion Davies, Captain of Her Soul, as by Lara Gabrielle, as it really gives a good insight into the life of Marion Davies. Not only about her career as an actress, but also what her personal life was like. And well, like I said, she was an excellent businesswoman as well, and that she picked up from William Randolph Hearst, as she went along with him when, for example, her contracts were negotiated, and he at first. She went to business meetings. William Randolph Hearst went to. So in the end, she could really. She was well. How shall I put it? She was good at negotiating her own contracts as well, and buying property. And she was a successful businesswoman in her own right as well. You may wonder about the title, Captain of Her Soul. Well, like I said, it was always, often, not always, often assumed that William Randolph Hearst made all of the decisions in her acting career, and she always said, "I am the captain of my soul," meaning I have, in the end, I have always made my own decisions about my career, in my career. I can highly, highly recommend this well-written and well-researched biography. If you want to watch one of Marion Davies, in my opinion, best comedies, I can highly, highly recommend the 1928 silent film, The Patsy, as this, in my opinion, is the best silent Marion Davies silent film comedies I have seen so far. And it's hardly aged. It's really, really... I can highly recommend it. Well, I'm going back to enjoying my other Filmtastic reads. Let me know what you are reading, and if you have any thoughts about Marion Davies, and if you are intending to pick up a copy of this biography. As always, thanks for watching.